Welcome back to the Zach Winger Show. Before we get into this episode, I have a very special announcement. Two very special announcements. One, thank you guys for listening ever. And we're at episode number 10 now. That's the announcement. So, first little milestone. This is really exciting. And I'm only 10 episodes in, but I'm feeling good. And here's to 10 more. Many more. I want to do this forever. So, yeah, feel good. The other announcement is that Balloon, my annual summer zine, the third issue, is on its way. It's being delivered. Head over to Zach Winger Art on Instagram to find out how you can purchase a copy of my new zine. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to put the cover, should be on the screen right now. Really excited about this one. I really want you guys to check it out. That's all. Let's get into the podcast.
Well, I'll end up laughing with no reason at all.
I know. I always do that too. Well, now we're going. So now we're ready.
Sure.
What's your name? How are you? What do you do? Who am I talking to today?
Well, my name is Sophia. If you want to know the full name, is Sophia Okotah. And what do I do? I'm a professor here at the University of Southern Indiana, and I teach mostly design courses. I do some web design, which I enjoy also, some interactive graphics like animation and just a tiny bit of coding. I don't want to go there, but I feel like I'm being pushed. You know how designers' lives are. So when the time is right, I'll learn it. But I just have a little bit of background into coding and Arduino and some interactive parts to it. So that's pretty fun. I also do some 3D modeling, printing, super fun. And it's like a new trend as students are crazy about it. So it looks like it has a cool future for me. Here in the department and new things to explore. What else did you ask?
I think, how are you?
How am I doing? Okay. I'm good. Like I said earlier, life has been busy, but busy in a good way.
Yes.
So, staying busy. And I have my little boy, Giovanni, and Abraham, and they make my life equally busy in a great way.
Yeah.
So that's how I am
good.
doing.
Yeah.
How about you? How are you doing?
Good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm also pretty busy. I was going to use what you said to segue into this. Being busy is a really good thing, but sometimes it gets a little bit stressful or tiring or whatever it is, and it's easy to complain when you're busy, but also it's like it's such a great problem to have to be busy. So but I'm still working just like my retail job, and then pretty much that one like pays the bills, and then I've been working on Balloon is done. I just need to order it.
Don't say it's done. You started this with so much energy.
I mean like the current issue is done.
You mean you ran out of the current issue, like the copies.
So it'd be issue number 3. Like I have the PDF ready to go. I just haven't ordered it yet.
Design done.
So it's done.
That was a very vague done for me.
No, hopefully Balloon is never done.
Okay, it shouldn't be done. It should just grow, and we'll feature more things, more people, more places.
I'm excited for everyone to see the third one because it's very different from the first two. I'm
thinking of someday when I get to visit my country, Ghana. If I don't know what sponsorship might look like, but if you're interested, we could look into it. Since you've done photography and you love to photograph places, people, and talk about them, maybe when we go back home, we'll do some, photo shoots of different places and explore a new place and my culture and the people, my family, where I lived when I was growing up, all of those good parts.
That'd be so awesome.
I'm really thinking about possibilities of that. I think it's gonna be fun. We can publish that, like print out, share. Great way to spread identity, fun, in the world with one another. So
absolutely.
Well, that was just a side note, but when we're talking about Balloon, I thought we could explore.
No, that'd be awesome. all the side notes are totally okay.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is like,
Okay,
again, this
so
doesn't
from
have
now
to
we'll
be...
start looking into grants. Who will sponsor us?
Yeah.
And take us
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Ghana so that we
I
can
need
do
to get
that.
a passport. I don't have a
Oh
passport.
my goodness, get
I
one
know.
now.
I know. I just haven't really had like a reason to yet. I haven't
Right.
gone out of the
I
country,
hear
but...
natives like Americans say that a lot, like those who are citizens born here. I knew of a friend when I was in Minnesota. She was like, "What's a passport?" I mean, she's never had to leave
That's funny.
Minnesota
Oh, wow.
because she's like happy, content, her family here. She
Interesting.
loves her work. She's like, what am I gonna do anywhere else?
I guess
So
if
she-
it works, it works. That's
Right.
interesting.
I totally feel that.
I do
Yeah.
really, really want to travel in general. Like one day, like I would love to go see like
Like an
the whole
international
world.
travel, yeah. You look like the person that would do that
Yeah,
for
I would.
sure.
I would love to and
Yeah.
take pictures and make art in different places and all that. That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun.
But going back to the busy thing, I do find myself complaining like, oh, like I get home from work and I'm like, oh, now I have to work on the podcast, or I have to
Right.
work on balloon, or I have
yeah.
to work on this. And I'm like, I'm so tired
Oh
all
my,
the time.
oh my.
But
They're
it's
good
such a good
things.
thing to have going
Going
and
on.
something to wake up and
Be thinking
do
about.
and, yeah.
Exactly. Because I can't imagine waking up and going like, I have nothing to
Nothing.
do
Yeah.
today and what's my life gonna look like? I mean, certain days you need that, like
absolutely.
a break, intentional
Yes,
break,
absolutely.
where you say, I'm not doing anything
I had one of those
today,
yesterday.
just chilling. Yeah, exactly. I mean, yesterday's a special day too, Easter Sunday situation. I noticed Gio wanted to go out. I realized he's been indoors for a little bit. So we stepped out and just enjoying the fresh air. I realized nobody was outside. Stores were closed. So it felt a little awkward, like just my little boy and I walking around. Oh, but we ran into a couple of people who were also taking walks. But for the most part, it was really quiet. So
Yeah.
yesterday was a good day to, Easter Sunday, to just relax and decompress, if I can put it that way, for a new week.
Yeah, I would say Sundays in general are good days for that. But I find myself at work every Sunday.
Every Sunday,
Because
true.
it's weekends and the
Did you
mall
pick
is
up
busy.
more hours? Okay, so yeah.
So
I
they're
feel
like
that.
almost 40 a week because I'm not full time, so I can't go over 40.
Right, true.
But I can get as close as
Almost,
possible.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
But then, so that takes up a lot of my time. But then across Balloon and, like I said, the podcast and other little art adventures,
going
it
on.
probably adds up to almost another maybe like 20 or 30
Hours
a week.
So
so-
staying busy, which is a good
Which
thing.
is, yeah,
It's a
again,
good
which
thing.
is good.
a good
As much as I complain about it, it's I know I'm super lucky to be in this position.
How I
so-
wish I could do some of the things I really love to do, including teaching. When you're teaching, it's like a marathon. Every day there's a class, grading and whatnot. Not
Yeah.
complaining.
Yeah,
They're all
yeah.
great things I love to do. But I wish that maybe I had like extra 5 hours every day
Yeah.
to take care of, one or two things for myself. Because I start something, I have so much energy, and then before you realize, something else kicks in, which is equally important, whether on the administrative level or on teaching level or on the personal level. And then it gets jumbled up again, and you have to figure out what a good start for which one would be all together.
Yeah,
Together.
yeah.
So it's like a cycle of unending things to get done, and then you keep going. And
Yeah. Do you find yourself working on multiple long-term projects at the same time, and you just kind of have to take the time that you get? Maybe even if it's just like an hour a day, or like...
to be honest with you, it's hard to do multiple things at the same time if they're personal interest or research based. As for research, it's true, I'm thinking of 1 or 2 or 3 ideas floating on my brain, and sometimes occasionally going in a little deeper and saying, oh, if I were to execute that, this is how I was gonna do it, right? So like still birthing the idea and ruminating on it in my brain, but as to putting it on paper or saying this is a starting point, go, that doesn't happen during the semester. The only time I've seen that pull through is when we have something called research groups that I don't know if it's the entire university or it's on the college level, but at the beginning of each semester they call out for faculty members who want to have like accountability partners in quote, that they can, keep them accountable, whether by reading over their papers, helping them say stay on track on research, those kinds of things. And so I've been part of that group twice, and I'd say those made a lot of difference during the semester. And during those semesters where I connected with another faculty member, we checked in on each other. We met once every week for an hour, just taking that hour only for research, nothing more, nothing less. And doing that over 16 weeks made a world of difference. I used that 16-week period to finish a whole set of work that I needed to get done for a solo show.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, you kind of have to, even if it is just an hour a week, or like,
so
you're so busy of it, you got to make the most of it.
It's funny, I'm already seeing the difference, because this semester I opted not to do it, just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
Can you believe I can't even make that 1 hour to do something?
I bet it was hard for you to find time to do this right now, because I'm like, it's like you have scheduled class time at least twice a day, right? And then you have your research hours, you have your office hours, you have grading, and that's just like the base level stuff. And then any sort of club or activity you might be involved in must make up time, and all kind, and like meetings and all kinds of stuff. Like I can only imagine how busy a college professor might be.
It does get busy, but I think we're all putting our best. We know what we are in for. So my most productive time when it comes to, I'd say, research is typically during the summers, and I definitely all the time look forward to it. And this one isn't going to be any different. I have a lot of things lined up, and I'm excited for them. I will be preparing for a new class I'll be teaching with Greg. So nice. It's going to be a joint class. It's typography, but we're going to have a more experimental component at the end of each project. Do you remember how we did the letter forms at the beginning? Greg is going to, he's into sculpture and woodwork, whatnot. So we'll see how we can use other media to reproduce the letter form that we designed. Then on to the second project, and we might cut down on the number of projects, but I'm really excited. So it means restructuring the whole course to accommodate that extra piece after each project. So that's something that I'll be working on right after my conference. I get back on the 11th of May, and maybe that's a Sunday. So Monday on, working on that maybe throughout the week and fine-tuning things, because I'm really excited for it.
That sounds awesome.
Plus it would count for a full class, although we'll be team teaching it. So some days Greg would come in without me, other days I would come in without Greg, so I get a little bit of flexibility, and I can just maybe call out to him and say, you know what, today I can't make it, can you cover, so it allows a lot of flexibility. Plus, at least from my end, given that I am younger, I would say, in the academic space, Greg has been teaching and been in academia for a couple of decades, so personally I'd love to sit in most of the time, just to catch his style of teaching, what part he covers and type, and just how he delivers his material. So that's something I'm definitely looking for. You can have it in a regular semester, because when I'm having class, another professor is having their class, and you can really sit in. If you want to sit in, then it means you've put aside like 3 hours where you're doing nothing, which can't, it's not feasible. So I think this opportunity will really get me close to where I want to be in terms of observing another professor that I truly admire and would love to work with, and see what I can learn from that. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
After that, then finding shows. I have some service learning projects that I want to get out there, and it will require a little bit of funding. So I'll be trying to find contacts in the city, and also places where we can get grants. I've started one with the I think USI has a resource. I'm forgetting the name. It's, I think, community engagement and outreach program that USI has, and they've been super good to us, and they're helping us apply for a grant that would cater for one of the service learning activities that we did in class, so that we can actually, bring to life the things we suggested. So it's going to be at Carver Community Organizations. They were hoping to do sort of a renovation and rebranding of their interior. And we came up with ideas in class. We presented it to them. They were excited about it, and they've started making those changes inside. But at some of the suggestions we made to them, excuse me.
Oh, that's no problem.
Some of the other suggestions we made to them is, I'll say, cost intensive. So that's where we're securing a grant for that. They're going to make a huge wall. It's not going to be a wallpaper only, but a huge collage of wallpaper that would be in their reception area with a stand-up logo design with some lighting at the front. And I think that can really make the be a game changer for the space in the way that they brand themselves and also tell their story as being multi-generational. And they've been there since, it was in 1914 or so. And it's interesting because when I introduced that project, it seemed like 99% of the students did not know Carver existed. So it's a great way to even expose everyone, if not just my class, to resources that Evansville has and people who are, spearheading great initiatives and what programs we have. Who knows whose family member might need some of these resources. So it's a great exposure, and I'm excited about it. So there's more to come, and I'm hoping that I can find like solid grounds, if I can put it that way, on ways to secure funds for some service learning opportunities.
Yeah, I took a grant writing course online at USI, but I didn't like.
You didn't like it?
I don't think I tried as hard as I could or should have.
I could use some tips from you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wish I could offer you some tips, but I don't think I remember a lot.
I'm not the biggest of a writer, but thank God for Monica. She's doing all the writing. She just had a meeting, an hour long or so meeting with myself and the partners at Carver, and she recorded us. So after that, she listened to the recording and just used some of our language and I think that's really smart. So she won't have to like vomit out every word, Plus we don't have to sit hours trying to structure some sentences. So it's been a nice collaboration between myself, the partners, and our USI representative, and I hope that relationship continues. I feel like I'm about to introduce my second project to her, but we are just about finishing applying for the grant. Once we turn it in, then I'll start another one with her. So very good resources that USI has to kind of support our vision, and all of us have our own research, I'll say, interests and directions, and I love that my direction is supported by USI in a great way. Yeah,
USI is a very supportive place for the most part.
Oh yeah, in every way that I've seen, unless I haven't put myself out there. But I've only been here just 3 years. The end of this semester will mark 3 years, and I feel like I'm filling big shoes, like being part of a committee for hiring and like making big decisions and talking about important things. I came in with Geo being just one, and with Dad being away, and everybody was understanding and cooperative, even students. When I said, I don't think we can make it in class, we had to pivot online, and everybody was, on board. And so that from student level to colleague level to, I think, college level, university level, I think they do care about everyone. And we all have unique situations, and it's wonderful how like everyone can find their true place and I'll say support that they need to thrive. So,
I would say so. At least in my experience, I would agree. USI was a great place to go to school.
It's great. I'm really excited about the future. in my growth here. Abraham is always like, it feels like you might grow old here. I wouldn't mind growing old here. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of big cities, like, busy, whoosh, whoosh, pom, like, when I lived in
so
Minnesota.
maybe Evansville's a good place for you
it's
then.
not too big, it's not too small. You see that? The only thing maybe I would wish would be more recreational places in here, because I'm not a big traveler, where especially taking road trips, it's boring for me. Road trips are boring for me. So if I can drive just 30 minutes, close to 1 hour, just to get to somewhere really nice and fun. And I'm a very family oriented person. Like, if I had my own way, I'll have many kids, but I don't have my own way. So I wish that we could find more of those, but we're discovering some from every now and then, and we've loved it. As long as Gio enjoys it, I do too, because it's mainly about him and us also breaking away from normal routines and business. Another kind of business is always nice for the brain. So that's what I wish. But other than that, I feel like I get everything I want here. Some of my local foods. I need to travel a little bit to get them. But it's not too bad. Not too bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like the idea of like a medium-sized city, and I think Evansville has a lot of potential to be like really good about it. I just feel like something is missing. I don't know.
Everyone actually says that, and it looks like our location is pivotal. Given that we are close, not too close, but close enough to big cities, and all that. And some people live here and work in those big places, so they earn more and spend less. And I hear living expenses here are a lot less than those bigger
like
cities.
St. Louis or Nashville
exactly.
Or something.
So they'll come live here.
Drive 2 hours every day.
I know.
That's a little crazy.
People drive. They don't care as long as they feel like, okay, the money I'll be using on fuel will be way less than if I was actually living in those expensive places. So they wouldn't mind the long drive, which is something I don't.
But then you miss out on so much time.
I know.
Unless you can work through your phone
while you're driving
or something, or have a meeting in the car or something.
And especially when the weather is not great, driving long. I've been looking at homes. We're looking to move. Ever since Abraham joined, we knew that, we had to move because it was just Gio and I, and our room was enough for us. Our home was enough for us. But now we're looking at moving, and I keep looking. And one key thing is proximity to USI, plus routes that are close to where Gio goes to school. I don't want it to be a route where we do a roundabout or we do like a back and forth or zigzagging. I'm hoping that we can just drive straight. I drop Gio off and then continue my route. So do you see that?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Plus, I don't want to forget all of the resources that Gio needs, so that, even though we've moved and he's got established, let's say, school system and doctor system, that kind of thing, he won't move too far away to the point where we'll have to switch and changing doctors can be so.
Oh my gosh! I just went through that.
Messing with insurance and
my
whatnot.
Gosh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking with Elle about that. I don't need to get too much into it because I've already spoken about it. It kind of was through Deaconess, it was actually pretty easy to. I literally just called the hospital in general. I was just like, I need to set up. I was like, this is kind of what's going on, and I just want to set up a new primary doctor, and I want to get blood work done. And then the woman who answered the phone was like, okay, let me transfer you.
That's it.
They just transferred me, and then the first person they transferred to was like, yeah, we'll set you up with this person. I was like, cool. Super easy. But the process of it, in my experience, that time was very easy. But previous experiences have been very long and difficult.
Right.
But luckily, Deaconess has been really good and smooth for me in my experience. So that's another thing good Evansville has going for it is in my experience, hospitals and healthcare system around here
Mm-hmm.
has been at least supportive and comfortable.
Okay.
And pretty easily accessible.
How long have you been in Evansville?
Just for like my time at USI. So
Oh, really?
I guess this would be like
Your
5 years. I'm coming
Okay.
up on my 5th.
Oh, so what were you before then?
I was in the western suburbs of Chicago.
Chicago.
So it was like you know how it'll be like on the map. It's like the city. There's like downtown,
Right.
and it's like
West
like
of
green
that
is like not city, and like gray is city. I'm like just as far in the city,
Okay.
technically, that you can be.
So I'm curious now, why did you choose USI when you
That's
were
what
in
everybody always
Chicago?
says.
And Chicago most likely has really
So many good schools,
art
yeah.
schools, design
Oh
schools.
my gosh, yeah, there are a lot.
So why here?
That's funny.
Like
yeah.
leaving family and all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Every time I tell somebody that, they're like, "Why the heck did you come to Evansville?"
I mean, we love you here.
Yeah,
But just
I did
curious.
end up loving it here, luckily, but I
You
don't.
just wanted a change of environment.
Yeah,
But okay, well,
there's this website we used in high school called
Mm-hmm.
I think called Naviance or something like that, where you can search for schools based on all kinds of categories. So you can filter out. I wanted like a medium-sized school. I
Got
wanted one
it.
out of state in like a border state.
Mm.
I wanted the major I wanted. I wanted
Okay.
this and this and that.
And
And
USI
USI was
was
like a
one on
99% match.
Okay, okay.
So I was like,
Oh, that's
I was
interesting.
like, so I toured and I liked it, and it was the only school I toured, and I was like, okay. I was
Okay.
like, I'll go here.
Go for it.
Yeah,
That's
I felt
really
comfortable
nice.
and nice
I
on my
wish I
tour.
knew.
and-
Let me. What's that? What's the name of the website?
I can spell it for you. It's
Okay.
Naviance.
Naviance, like so, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's how I was able to find it. Yeah, it was like 98 or 99% match based on what I wanted at the time. So
It's nice. I mean, that's another really good marketing, I won't say tool, but avenue for USI, because if you never heard of USI and just did that little filter thing where, you know,
That's
you
the only
choose
way
your
I ever found out
preferences.
about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, that
That's
helped
really
a lot.
cool.
There were some other options. I thought about like University of Wisconsin, like Whitewater.
Yeah, that's also another great place.
I can't remember any other schools I thought about, but for some reason I never really did. Because there's Columbia downtown Chicago, and I'm sure there's other universities
For
in the
sure,
city
for
that
sure.
would be amazing art schools. But I don't know. For some reason that never really even like crossed my mind. As much as I love downtown in any city downtown in general, because you said earlier, like, you don't really love that. I do like that. Like, I like the busy, crazy.
You like the busy crazy?
I don't know if I'd like to live there all the time.
Right,
But
right.
when I am there, I
You
feel the energy
right,
of the city.
yes,
And it feels
there's
like
energy.
I'm doing something
True,
good.
True, yeah. That's for the energy I give it to them. It's
Yeah.
true, and I love passing through or just, you know, going to do something. All the sky walks and, you know, crisscrossing into
yeah.
buildings, all the lights at
Yeah.
night and all the, oh my goodness. I think it's a beautiful sight
Yeah.
to look at, and you see all kinds of arts in public places.
That's
and
what I wish Evansville had. Was
yeah,
more art
yeah,
and, like, and just more people.
installations. Yes, I mean, Evansville happened to be. I've not, like I said, I don't travel a bunch,
Yeah.
but the few places I've been to, and I go to their downtowns, like you'd see right off the bat that it's a busy place, you know, vibrant, and parking is definitely
Yeah.
100% paid.
Yes.
And you come to Evansville,
Yeah,
and
it's so easy to
very
park.
quiet, and parking is free. I mean, that's a blessing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's so
I feel
easy to
like
park.
If I hoped and wished that it should quickly grow into like a downtown like Minnesota, which
my
I'm
gosh.
very familiar with,
Yeah.
parking is definitely going to be
nightmare.
paid.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
going to be tough to park down there.
Yeah.
So right now it's a blessing in
Yeah.
disguise that it's not such a huge, busy, vibrant place. But I mean, vibrance there is. People are there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a working, you know, space, or if I say district in quotes. Nice, the Riverside Walk and the
Beautiful.
view, like seeing if you are on one of the tall buildings like the
Mm-hmm.
Fifth Third Bank and Old National, they have wonderful views.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a great place, but I hear the city itself isn't as populous as a big city would
Yeah.
have. So that's totally given. And I also learned that during COVID, many moved away or so. I don't know. I don't
interesting.
have those statistics, but I just heard it from someone. I was having a conversation with about downtown. So yeah, I mean, lots of people say it's a great place to live, and it has great potential to grow.
I agree.
Yeah. I guess it's in the works. At least now the Lloyd is gonna be
Yeah.
transformed to some extent.
Yeah.
I hear it's gonna take 4 years.
Yeah.
It's a long stretch.
Yeah, but hopefully it makes it
Yeah, hopefully
better
it makes
and
it better.
easier
Yeah,
or whatever.
it's a very high traffic route.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
and sometimes I get to some spots and I don't know how far they can make it wider. So I wonder if they're gonna make an overpass or whatnot.
Yeah,
But
I don't know.
I don't know. I hear there's the plan on some websites like Lloyd for You or
Oh,
so,
yeah, I've heard of something
where you
like
can
that.
view the plan. So maybe I'll go check it out and see for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but lots of good stuff are happening on that stretch. It goes all the way into Newburgh.
Yeah,
Maybe it's not
it's
called the
super
Lloyd
far.
anymore at some point.
Yeah,
but the
whatever,
road keeps
Route
going
62 or
straight.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is really
It's
nice.
a long. That's
Long
I don't know how I
stretch.
feel about. You,
I probably
you
need to do a little
have-
research on how the Lloyd came about because it's a long straight.
And it's just
and it
straight
keeps going.
east-west,
Like I don't
yeah.
know how far it could go and
Yeah.
end. Okay.
Because a city like Chicago has all kinds of like highways that overlap,
freeways,
and there's
overpasses,
so many different
yes.
ways to get everywhere.
Yes.
But Evansville, I feel like it's just the
One-
Lloyd, and it's
yeah.
just a straight line.
Yeah, straight line.
Which, I don't know, it kind of like drives me nuts. Like you have to take the Lloyd to
have
get
to-
anywhere.
Yes, or it's a
So,
longer route.
Yeah,
See that?
and it takes much
Yeah,
longer.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Yeah, it was one thing that I noticed that I thought was unique when I was touring the city. So a friend of mine, when when I told her I got a job here, she was like, "Oh, she actually came to the University of Evansville. She attended University of Evansville many years ago, and so she has some old friends who still live here, like 2 or 3, who still live. And she's like, "Oh, I'll take you on a tour. Maybe we get to see them, and I'll connect you with them. All that." So I was like, "Okay." And then she was, driving us around places, showing us good places to go eat and such. And I was like, oh, it's cool. I like the vibe here. And everywhere she would turn, she needed to take the Lloyd. Like the Lloyd. I was like, this looks familiar. Yeah, it's the same route. Everywhere she would turn, we had to take the Lloyd again. I'm like, okay.
I don't know, I
It's
found
like a
myself-
popular kind of street
Yeah.
road situation. Yeah.
I just wish there were other alternate ways to go other places sometimes.
I bet with time, maybe.
I think so. I don't know how long, but it'd also be annoying. Like the city is just like constantly under construction for time.
Oh
like,
yeah, that can be painful.
But that's kind of the price you have to pay if you want
wanted
to expand and grow.
Yes,
So
yes.
you
You have to
gotta-
deal with that. I keep referring back to Minnesota because that's the place I lived before I came to Indiana. So these 2 states I've lived longest. 3 in Minnesota, 3 in Indiana. Wait, actually I'm 6 now in Indiana because 3 was in grad school at Bloomington and now I'm 3 here. So 6 years here, 3 in Minnesota. So I lost my train of thought.
It's okay.
I was gonna say something about when
Something about cities expanding. or
right.
something.
They go like Minnesota is all about. We have 2 seasons in Minnesota. What are they? They are winter and construction. So like during the winter months, that's the only time you don't see
Not really,
workers.
yeah.
Even that, there's minimal work going on in the cold.
Yeah.
With the snow falling on the
Yeah,
sand and the gravels,
understandable,
they're still
yeah.
working. And then when it's summer, it's on
Oh, I bet
full
it's-
bloom,
oh my gosh,
like
I
everywhere
bet.
you go. But the streets, like the roads are so good, so
Oh,
many
good.
interchanges and complex street systems. I'm like, this drives me. It was the
Sometimes
place where I
it's
needed to
overwhelming.
learn how to drive,
Oh my
and it
gosh, yeah.
scared me.
Mhm.
Oh,
As much as I love downtown Chicago, driving down there is a nightmare.
No, it's
Usually
a
just take the
nightmare.
train because
Right.
then you can just
It's
avoid
easy
having
with-
to park
yeah.
and drive. Yeah,
exactly.
it's crazy. Like there's always so many cars at all times. And
Driving
there's,
at top
so many
speed.
options to go.
Yeah, changing lanes, trying
and
to exit.
one-way roads and stuff. Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
Nightmare.
I don't want that. So that's why I love Evansville in many ways, because there are fewer surprises on the road.
Yes.
I mean,
that's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It's more comfortable. But I want to pivot a little bit to, I guess, something you mentioned earlier. Or I guess you were talking a lot about having to schedule your time, and you have to put, from what I gathered, it sounds like you have to put a lot of your own personal things to the side in order to teach at the level that you teach. Just that a lot, but then you also have to sacrifice a lot at home to take care of your kids and your family. So I guess I want to say thank you for if nobody ever tells you thank you, thank you for all your sacrifice, because it sounds like it's a lot. You're here for a lot of hours a day, and even the time you are here, you have to sacrifice some of that time for the students or for whatever it may be, and then you have to go home, and it's just more and more and more. So yeah, I'm sure you're pretty busy all the time. So
yeah, it happens that way.
I hope more people tell you thank you for all your sacrifice.
Yes. I mean, it's always a blessing to be at work. I mean, people wake up in the morning and they know they don't want to go to work. It's different for me. Coming to work isn't burdensome, isn't stressful. It's just busy. There's always something to do. And even when I feel like, for a moment, I don't have anything pressing to do, I'm finding what's next to do, because there definitely is.
Yeah,
only that maybe I haven't put it on paper to get it done. Yeah, so I definitely appreciate the acknowledgement. Thank you for the thoughtful thank you. And we try to keep the good balance. And like I said, I pay a lot of attention to you've been my student before, so you might tell, or maybe not, maybe I'm just bragging on myself. But I like to pay attention to my student and my classes, how they're going, how have I structured the class, given that I'm pretty new to, like I said, academia. Although it's something that I always wanted to do, and it's like a dream come true, to be doing it now full time. There are many things I'm having to learn and get used to and work smarter, that kind of thing. I feel like many times I work really hard and I need to work smarter more. And I'm starting to do that. Also ways to better myself, because the design world is ever evolving.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And trying to keep my students abreast with that. It's not easy, because like I said, outside of coming to school and taking care of, classwork, and administrative stuff and whatnot, it can be hard to say, I'm finding time to improve myself. But I try to do that too from time to time, so I'm not super rusty. So it's great. In a nutshell, I'm not the type that loathes, coming to work.
Good.
It's a place where I get to maybe laugh and smile the most, know, because I get to see people creating work. We make jokes, and I pick on a few of you a few times.
I'm glad you mentioned me being one of your students. I was going to tell you my time as one of your students was super enjoyable. I loved going to your classes every day. I would always come in a great mood, and it was always such a great time. I had you for 4 classes,
I think so.
At least.
You're taking typography.
There was one semester I had you twice. I think your first semester I had you twice.
Which one was that?
It would have been typography and
I know you did identity systems design. You've done web design, yes.
So that would have been... that was also my first semester back from my medical thing. So 20... It would have been fall of 22?
Yeah, that was
maybe?
my first semester here.
That makes sense
fall
to me,
2022, right? Yes.
I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah,
but
I think you were one of my first students.
Yeah, so
one of the first set.
It is... That's crazy to me. We start. I restarted, and then you started here at the same.
Started here, yeah.
At the same semester,
yeah.
But anyway, Yeah, I was gonna like I just said thank you for like your sacrifice, but also thank you for just being like a great professor. Like I learned so much from you.
Thank you.
And I feel like my work at the time from before I had you as a professor was like not very good.
Okay.
And then when I started having to do, it started getting better and better and better until by the time I was done at USI as a whole, like my work was so much better, and you are a huge part of that. So
thank you.
Seriously.
That. Yeah, and I also find you to be very self-driven and ready to learn, open to criticism, constructive ones, and improving it, asking for feedback, trying new things, and it's a great spirit and attitude to have. And when times I see students, in that space and attitude, I right away see a bright future in them, and I know they'll do awesome things. So you're one of those. So don't disappoint me. Whenever you're feeling slack, you go like, Sophia's looking at me. I'm spying.
Yeah.
I'm like, where is Zach right now? And
yeah, I'll remember. I'll
for
keep
sure.
that in mind.
Keep me in your journey. Like whenever
I will for
any
sure.
good things, even bad things, sad things, whatever, just share it, and we grow together.
Yeah.
I feel like to be a professor means having like a lifelong relationship with students and students over several generations if we decide to stay in the profession. And it's really cool to see, let's say you're 30 something years and maybe you come back here and Sophia is still here and I have lots of gray hair and and Zach's one of my students and where are you? Oh, you're here there doing some awesome stuff.
Yeah,
and
that'd be
it just
awesome.
makes us so proud.
Yeah, I want to give you guys stories to tell. Like,
yeah.
I want to be that person where
for sure
you guys can be teaching in years from now and be like, this is.
I already have you as the Helvetica lover.
That's funny.
You still have that H.
Yeah. So something like that too. Yeah, I was actually thinking of, in the back of my head as I was talking about being one of your students, I was trying to think of a way to bring up how I would just use Helvetica for everything all the time.
Everything Helvetica. Oh my goodness. It's like Mason using Futura for everything.
Yeah. I grew out of that actually, luckily, but
yes.
At the time,
that happened with Balloon. I see Balloon is not Helvetica, which is
the internal text actually
Helvetica. I know,
but the cover and everything. I try to make it Helvetica and see if it'll work first.
Okay,
but then
so you haven't fallen out of love with it altogether.
Yeah, but lately I haven't even been trying it.
Okay.
So I'm trying to do other
new
stuff.
things. I think it's part of your personal brand, where you're known for the guy, because someone like Massimo Vignelli was known to be the guy, the Helvetica guy. He's tried to stay simple and use very few set of typefaces. Like you don't have to clutter lots of typefaces in your work. And I feel like he built a brand for himself in the typefaces that he chooses to use. You see that? So you might see some work somewhere and immediately you might imagine, could this be Massimo's work? Randomly, because he would stick to it no matter what. So
I try to keep a similar philosophy of the typeface I'll choose. I would like it to be something more crisp and clean and like bold.
Yes.
But then also whatever I choose, if I can make whatever I'm working on work with just one typeface, then I will.
Yes, do it.
Sometimes, like for something like Balloon, it's not really
it's not a big family.
Functional to where I think the font I use is called like Bauhaus 93.
Yeah, it looks like a Bauhaus font. Yeah.
But that's not like that's not a good like paragraph font. So I have to choose something else.
Yes.
So, absolutely. But other than that, like say a case like Helvetica, for example, for like the headline, say it's a magazine, the headline could be Helvetica,
the
black, where it's like super wide, and then there's bold and regular and thin and whatever.
Helvetica I think it's a super family, or at least has many variants, and they keep remaking it and all that. So, it's growing.
Yeah,
I love super families because you can just choose that one typeface and do whatever with it. Some of the styles could even look so different. You might think it's not from the family, which is super fascinating. when I find typefaces like that. So yeah, keep exploring.
Yeah.
I'm glad that, you know, I love it when students are type conscious, because I think that can either make or break the work they do, so that no matter how creative you were, if you chose the wrong type or said it wrong, it can just simply raise questions, and we don't want that. So,
yeah, that's one thing that drives me nuts.
Yes, true.
When I'll see like a poster or something, whether it's like student work
And
or
it's all
out in the
over the
real world.
place.
What it drives me especially crazy is when it's like when you're a student, it's almost forgivable because you're learning and you're trying to figure this out. But when it's like professional in the real world, and I see like a font that I think just doesn't quite fit,
yeah.
like it just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Or to like the placement of it, or whatever the case might be.
Mine is an orphan. I don't like seeing orphans.
Yeah,
I mean,
those are
orphans
funny.
in body text. There are certain words that can live on their own, you know, own lines in display.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
see that? But if it's a copy or some kind of a paragraph,
Yeah.
and then you leave that little guy
yeah,
at the
it's so
bottom,
frustrating.
no, that drives me crazy. So yeah. Orphans already have a hard time in society, so to put another orphan on paper is like, you're the worst.
That's funny.
You're the worst.
No orphans and
No
typing.
orphans. No orphans.
Bad thing.
Yeah.
That's you brought awareness of that to me as a student, and then you definitely like showed tips on how to not have them or to like reword it or whatever. But
Right.
between you and Chuck also showed like you can shrink, especially in design. It's much
Publication?
easier.
Okay. Yeah. In design, it's much easier.
But you can say you have like you're using size 12 font. If you shrink it to like literally 11.9,
9, it can make a whole
it could
lot
get rid of the
difference.
orphan, and you won't even tell.
You won't tell.
It's smaller.
Yeah.
So little stuff like that, or you can like, there's 100 different little things you can do, but
Yes.
there's a ton
We
of
can
ways to get
either
it
increase
easily.
tracking a little bit, reduce
Exactly.
tracking a little bit. You
Yeah.
know, those things can all help. But if you ignore it and leave an orphan, you're in trouble with
Yeah.
it.
So one of my favorite things from your classes was like type crimes.
crimes?
Yeah, those are so funny.
Yeah. And after that, it was interesting how Ethan and his friends would now be looking around and pinpointing
Yes.
type crimes. I remember
Out in the
Amanda
world.
brought me an example of a type crime. It's like, Sophia, look, it's actually living in the store. I'm like, who did that?
Yeah, those drive me nuts too. I'm like,
Yeah.
Sophia would be like
I'll go
so
crazy.
angry. But it's good to have those things brought to your attention because it's really easy to overlook, especially as a student where you might be just trying this stuff for the first time. So you have no idea
Yeah, I see that a
stuff
lot.
exists.
And it's interesting after we talk about it, and I love it when students begin to use the vocabulary. Like,
Yes.
oh, this is an orphan. Oh, let's do some extra leading and
Yes.
kerning. And I don't know if you've seen widows. You know, there are widows. And,
Yes. Yeah.
So I've not heard people talk about, and that one doesn't happen often. You know, it's when we leave a few words on another page altogether in a paragraph. You know, so I don't see
Not as
widows
common.
that often, but I do see orphans. So yeah, when students begin to use the vocabulary, oh, my heart,
bet that's
it's like
good for
it
you.
warms my heart. I'm
That
like,
means you're
yes,
doing
I
your
love
job
that.
and-
Yeah,
yeah.
and they know what it really
They're
means.
learning, and everybody's
Yes,
it's a good thing.
Yes.
What was I gonna say? I also remember too, like, well, I have a few thoughts. But
Okay.
I remember some of my early work as a student. Like, I want to go back and look
And
and
read
see what
them.
kind of type crimes I
You
have done.
commented
I'm sure I
in
did so
them.
many. Like, I'm sure I did like different fonts.
Well,
and
you're not guilty
all crazy
alone.
stuff,
I'm
yeah.
also guilty. I feel like we all get there and then we try to unlearn,
Yeah.
all the crimes. Yeah. I've
But then-
committed many of them.
Yeah, I also think it's important though to learn all of the things to not do. So then, if
When
you
you're
so
doing
choose,
them,
you can choose to break one of the rules in a way that could really help your design.
Right.
But again, you gotta be really careful
Exactly.
and like intentional
Exactly.
with it. I think intention is
the key word
everything when
here,
you're
yes.
designing
And be able
anything.
to talk about it and defend it. Why are you doing it this way? You know, so sometimes it can have a more conceptual meaning than just the literal, which gives an interesting twist to it.
Yeah.
Whenever I remember, whenever I talk about type crimes the first time, everybody's like, oh, so we can never stretch text or what?
That's the one I remember.
No, not that. I mean, if you're doing it for artistic purposes, you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you imagine it in maybe an editorial, whatnot, and your
absolutely
type
not,
is stretched, no way. No, you can't.
That was one of
do
the first
that.
ones I was like, what?
No.
Because I remember I was trying to do that on one of my posters. And,
Right.
I think it must have been like Ashley and Caleb near me, and they're like, he's doing a type crime.
Committing a crime, yeah.
But,
yeah. So
it's good to learn not to do that.
To your point, I think once you know what you shouldn't be doing, like you're aware of it, and then you decide to break the rules or bend the rules, you're doing it intentionally and making it work for you rather than mess with the quality of your work. So yeah, I think it applies in every area.
Which 10:30, maybe like 10 minutes or so.
Okay.
Sorry to cut you off a little bit. I was just trying to see
how much time we have here.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
I don't want to make you late to your class.
Yeah, you're fine. Today we're doing a big critique on our poster designs, and I'm excited to see
what kind of poster.
It's a social initiative poster
where
I want them to amplify their design, their visual style, in a poster format that addresses a social issue.
Yeah,
so I'm seeing people talk
for
about
typography.
Yes, you did the bottle.
I wish I could go back and redo that one.
Redo that
I really don't like that poster.
It's still one of my favorites.
Really?
You know, I mean, typography is
taken
taken by typography is taken by students typically in their maybe early sophomore.
Middle, right? Yeah.
You see that? So it's like you're still learning, and I love it when people do awesome with it and fly with it, the topic idea, whatnot. I love it. But if you didn't do great, you have more opportunities too. I feel like it's a learning process.
I needed that class.
Yeah.
That class kind of changed the whole rest of my trajectory.
Yes, for sure.
So you should be proud of yourself for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
I mean, that's obviously what I would imagine would be your goal as a professor is that the classes
advance
you're teaching is actually like benefiting me for the rest of my design career. So it absolutely, if I never would have taken that class.
And your group worked the hardest, you know that? Because I came in fresh with all of the exciting material, and we did 6 projects. You remember the list, and that's a lot. Like looking back and seeing how much has changed from then to now. I mean, I'm not letting go of content and quality, but some of the material I've cut back on, so that it can allow more time.
You gotta do what you gotta do. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I kind of like, if that was, I have torn feelings about it, because obviously, like you just said, maybe having a few less projects per semester could benefit the students, just to get like the most out of each project.
Yeah, each one.
But at the same time, I think there is something good about thinking about your next project before you even finish the current one, and then
the first one,
just kind of go,
keep going. Yeah,
which I think is really, really good in general. And like as a practicing artist or designer, but I can sometimes as a student, depending on the projects and whatnot, it could get a little bit overbearing.
A lot, yeah.
But I mean, there's ways to figure out and balance all of that.
So. Yeah, that's what I feel like in my 3 years here, I have figured out. My first 2 semesters, I was in total oblivion about student culture. I went to college without working. My parents paid all of my tuition, my feeding, whatnot.
Good.
And I was just enjoying my time, learn, come back, do a little chilling, just relax, watch some movies, do my homework. I did my best to be an A student.
Yeah, absolutely.
At least.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to think about going to work and try to schedule my work hours around my school hours and maybe have concerns about it overlapping or not getting to my work on time and being reprimanded. I feel like this population has a different side to their lives, and I, as much as I want them to succeed and want to give them the best of everything. I feel like this is where I can work smarter instead of working harder, like make them work smarter rather than
Yes,
harder.
absolutely.
So because I'm like, what you're doing out there, like you said, pays the bills,
Yes.
right? And for many students, it's paying the bills for them and getting them to come to school every day. So if they lose that, how do they continue?
Exactly.
That can affect mental health. How do you perform well and come to class with a sound mind, wanting to work and be creative? Like,
Absolutely.
I can't imagine being creative under stress.
Yeah,
Do you see that?
yeah.
So
Absolutely.
my philosophy is, I want you to come to class knowing that this is a relaxed environment. It's a place that you're going to grow at. I'll give you the chance and opportunity to do that. If you need more time, let me know. You know, keep communication up so that we can work together to make it happen. But on my end, I feel like I cut back on the projects just so it can accommodate for the knowledge I have that students actually do work after school, and for many people full-time. Full-time, like being a full-time student, full-time worker,
And,
that is
that's
tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Well,
So,
I'm not one of your students anymore, but like, I keep saying thank you, but thank you for doing that. Because it's only natural for you to base how you teach on your own college experience. So I mean, that would, like, nobody can be upset at you for that.
Right.
Like, and
that
that
was
your
how
first
I started
semester.
with,
But you're at least learning and growing, and like everything you do is for
For
the
my
students.
students'
So
benefit,
I mean, that's
exactly.
awesome. That's really all we can ask for from a professor. So
and honestly, I don't think it's reduced the quality of work at all.
I don't.
I think it keeps rather growing, and I am able to pay attention more to them, give more time if there's a need to correct things that we need to correct.
Absolutely.
Do you see that? So, and my goal is that no matter what your area of interest, so in typography, I have students from photo, from illustration, some actually graphic design, you know, concentration students and all that. I have that diversity, and I say to myself, I want that diversity to be as comfortable as they could be with the use of type, even if they don't foresee themselves using it in the future. Because we use type every day and we see them everywhere. And after taking typography, you should be able to identify that this poster, you know, there's something about it that needs to be reworked. Or, you know, like a professional, you know, even if you're not in that space. And if you are in a team of people using that, you could also be a valuable contributor in that team, rather than saying, oh, I don't know type, I don't do anything type, you know,
absolutely.
like segregating yourself from the group. So
sometimes it makes it feel like I'm nitpicking, but you almost have to be at that level. But the thing that I have one last thought, and then I have like the thing I want to end on. And I can wrap up. But the one that drives me nuts the most that I see in public, and especially in like magazines and stuff, is I guess in general, but especially specifically like headlines or big bold text on multiple lines. Say it's only 2 lines, but they're very far apart. That drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I don't like
the
that
leading
at all.
is awkward.
I'm like, it should be smaller. But maybe that's just like a personal design philosophy that I try to follow, where I try to make it very minimal. But,
I mean, everybody has their own, and it's nice to get your own voice as a designer. When I think of David Carson, for instance, he's the type that totally veered away from the Helvetica, you know, clean looking things, and broke many of type rules and all that. But I think the style and the kind of client and work he does called for it.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you see that? I can't imagine him actually designing an editorial or a heavy, like a multi-page booklet with heavy text that's supposed to be readable and legible and accessible to whoever, you know, whatever age group with whatever eyesight, you know, situation, whatnot, to be able to read. I mean, if it's just for stylistic purposes or artistic, cool. So it's nice to find your voice and also know the boundaries to that, you know, and how to just make it work. It just has to work and make sense for your situation. I
agree. Cool.
Wonderful
the last thing I want to end on is, this is the only, because I said earlier it's like totally like free form and there's not very much structure, but the recurring thing is I want to give, we each give advice to whoever might be listening, whether it's design advice or life in general, advice, or whatever, like, and it can be quick or silly or whatever.
Okay.
Or serious. However, whatever you want to take
Quick
it.
or silly.
I can
Let's see.
start first.
Okay.
But I think mine, just based on what we've been talking about for the last maybe like however many minutes, but I would advise any designer or artist or anybody in general, really, but the way I'm going to say it is going to pertain to designers and artists, but my advice would be to be very, not hard on yourself, but keep your work to a certain standard and look at every single tiny little detail, because sometimes I need to take my own advice of what I just said, because it is easy to overlook little things,
Right.
or just forget about little tiny details or anything like that. But I guess to make it short and concise, I'm kind of like stumbling on my words a bit.
That's all right.
But it would just be to be very careful and have a lot of attention to detail in everything that you do.
That's a perfect advice, honestly. It's like you said, it's easy to overlook the tiny things, but at the end of the day, it's those tiny things that actually make things work.
Yes,
in my opinion,
absolutely.
Because I mean, if you do something great and I begin to notice small things that are not right, it begins to take away. It's like, oh, you gave me 100%, and then I begin to 90. Okay. So I think those little, I call it micro finessing in design, where you feel the big design is there, like layout is perfect, everything is nicely placed and it's working, composition, color, type, whatnot, and then like I noticed alignment is slightly off. Like the flush is slight. And is it intentional or did you just miss that?
Yeah.
So I'd want to look in and go like, can I be nitpicky here? So I totally get your
absolutely.
point. So I guess my advice connects very closely to yours, where try to be the best version of yourself, be true to yourself, be authentic, and be conscious about growth. Like, look at what you're doing 3 or 4 years ago and see what you're doing 3 or 4 years later, and compare them if you see growth. And again, this is an advice I want to take for myself too, because growth is important. That's how humans are wired. Everybody wants development, growth. So I think as a designer and as a person in general, we want to be able to track our growth and see if we're going downhill or uphill. And there's something satisfying about seeing that growth while you're still staying you, like be you. I feel like many in our culture nowadays, we find our identity in something or someone or career or accomplishment. But I understand that all those things matter, but I think what we want to think about, what makes us comfortable, what makes us us, and what makes us true, so that we can live a more fulfilling life. Not to block the rest of the world out of our lives, but to maintain that purity of trueness in whatever we do, even in our artwork. You see that? So that would be my big one for anyone that's listening, and just be good to yourself. I think it's important. I can't love people and hate myself. We see that. So I want to love myself first, not love in a selfish way where I disregard everybody,
but you need to.
I know my value, I know who I am, and I love how I look, what I do. Then I begin to appreciate others too, rather than condemn myself, and then I refuse to see all the beauty around me in that sense. So it starts from us, and then it springs off,
yes,
like
absolutely.
a fountain.
The energy you put out into the world,
you should have that energy, and it will come back to you. Yes,
it starts with yourself, and you, absolutely, absolutely. Nice. Well, that's really, really beautiful and powerful. So, thank you for joining me.
It was a pleasure. I hope we can do this sometime.
We absolutely will. Yeah, we definitely will.
Yeah.
If you guys are still listening, thank you for listening this far in the podcast, and we'll see you next time.